You may have heard by now that my Droid X got fried last weekend. It happened while I was in Atlanta at the conference. It was just this freak thing, actually. You know how hotel bathrooms are kind of small. I was in the bathroom, I was fixing my hair, getting ready to go downstairs. I had my phone on the counter, I was texting, and I got done with my hair. I put my phone in my back pocket and turned around, and my phone just kind of slipped out of my back pocket straight into the toilet. Whoops. The weird thing is, it didn't turn off, it didn't shut down, anything. I just reached in the hotel toilet. And you know how I feel about toilets. I reached in the toilet, I grabbed it, I dried it off, took it out of the case. It didn't even appear to be wet. And it was still working, it was still on, so I just finished texting. I went to the session, I get about an hour into it, so it's like 90 minutes after this happened. And all of a sudden, it starts kind of acting up. Apps start launching or whatever. Then it rebooted, and it gave me the sad droid face, which is like Sad Mac, except it has a little Android guy. And I was like, oh, this is not good. Now, I wish I had known better and turned it off from the beginning, but I thought it was fine. So I went to the hotel restaurant, went to the kitchen, and got a bowl of rice. And I took my phone all apart, of course, it was all powered down, and I put it in the bowl of rice. So I'm sitting there in the restaurant with my bowl of rice here on the table beside me. The funny thing was, the waitress kept trying to clear the table and take my bowl of rice. I'm like, no! Anyway, I was really sad. I felt completely disconnected. I couldn't Facebook, I couldn't text, I couldn't get in touch with anyone at the conference. I was just disconnected. It's amazing to me how much I rely on my smartphone, especially with the kind of work that I do. I find that I am just doing most of my work mobile now with the way smartphones are. I mean, they can just do everything. So I decided I needed a little cheering up. And I went into the coffee shop. I was going to get a really nice coffee. And right there in this big display case were these things called scones. And I know they're popular, I've seen them before, whatever, but I'd never had one. So I say to the lady, what are these exactly? I mean, just like flat muffins? There were several kinds, and I just looked at them for a minute and I said, I'll take one of each. Mind you, I am on a low-carb diet, but look, a girl has her moments. So I went back into the restaurant, I sat down, my phone and I both having carbs. My droid was having a bowl of rice, I was having multiple scones. And you know what? They did make me feel better. They really did. Because as soon as I finished my scones, I looked at my droid and that bowl of rice and I said, we're going to the Verizon store. So I hop in the car, and of course the first thing I don't have is navigation. I happen to be in Atlanta, of all places, but I do find the Verizon store. It takes me half hour to get to the nearest Verizon store. Traffic is crazy even on a Sunday afternoon. I'm certainly not used to that. I mean, the worst traffic problem I have in the middle of nowhere here in Tennessee is a cow crossing the road. So I walk into the Verizon store with this bowl of rice. And everybody in the store turns to look at me and they're like, oh. It was like the sad droid face all over again. But the guy there was super helpful, super nice, and I tell you, I shop for everything about the same way. It's like when I picked out my couch and my new bedroom suit, I was just in and out in 30 minutes, had it delivered, was done. So I walk into the Verizon store and I do pretty much the same thing. I said, show me what you have in droids, because I basically want the same kind of phone, but let's see what we got. I did have insurance on my phone. It was $100. They could overnight me a new phone. It would be here in just a couple of days. Or I had an upgrade on my account, and for another $100 I could just have a brand new phone and much better quality. So I decided to look around at them a bit. And what I ended up getting was pretty much the first thing I looked at, and I got the Droid Razr. And this was an upgrade from a Droid X, which I've loved. I've had for 1.5 years. And in all honesty, that's like 3 times longer than any of my kids have had any of their phones. So what I loved about it immediately with the Droid Razr was it's thinner and lighter than my Droid X, which I thought was pretty thin and light. The screen is larger also, which is super nice. But you can see it here. Nice, huh? And it's purple. So yeah, I like the screen size, I like that it's lightweight, it's super fast, and the thing I really love about it is it takes much better photos in low light and videos than the Droid X. So there's a better camera or a better lens on the camera. It also does pictures from both sides, so I'll show you this really quick. It takes pictures this way, like normal, so you can turn it around and it will take pictures this way. So you see yourself. Which is pretty cool if you're taking self photos, which a lot of people do on their smartphones, I guess. I was super happy with it. I felt like it was a really good deal. And they just fixed me up really fast. So if you drop your phone in the toilet, that is the solution. Just head to the nearest Verizon store. Unfortunately, you won't have navigation like me. It'll take you a half hour to find one. The funny thing is, on the way back from the Verizon store, I passed one. Like right by the hotel, literally within a mile of the hotel. It's like, that's why I need a smartphone. That's why I need navigation. The Droid Razr, of course it being Android, a Razr versus a Droid X, everything just synced automatically from my original account. All I had to do was download the free apps that I had on my other phone and remember what those were, of course. But I'm loving it. It's super fast. It's actually 4G instead of 3G. So there are a lot of reasons, like I said, that it was worth the extra $100 above my insurance deductible to just go ahead and get a new phone. A lot of people made fun and they're like, oh, you should go get an iPhone now. But you know what? Both my kids have an iPhone 4S and I'm not really keen on them. They have a much smaller screen than the Droids and I really like this. This is similar to having an iPad, you know, with the screen space, except this actually fits in my back pocket. I also have an iPod Touch and an iPad. So I have the best of both worlds by having an Android phone and having the iPad and iPod because I can pretty much access any apps that I want. Anyway, so yes, I've shattered my first iPad, I drowned my Droid X, who knows what I'll do next. Thank goodness for insurance plans, warranties, and upgrade options. So on the topic, I'd be curious to know what kind of phone do you use? And if you had the option to upgrade from the phone you currently have, what phone would you choose? There are tons of great phones out there right now. In fact, when I was looking in the Verizon store, I had to like block it all out because it's just overwhelming. So I went straight to the section and I'm like, I want the latest, greatest, newest Droid, and that's it. Didn't even look at the other phones. But I know there are tons out there. So again, love to know what you use and what you would choose.